Chapter 1. Growing up in Slovenia. Melania Trump was born on April 26, 1970, in the little town of Sevnica. This town is located in Slovenia, a lovely European country. It boasts green hills, peaceful rivers, and small settlements. Life there was basic but not always easy. Melania's family resided in a tiny apartment. It was small, but it was home. Her father, Victor, worked at a car plant. He would leave early every morning. Despite the factory's noise and harsh conditions, he worked tirelessly to support his family. Melania admired him. She understood he desired a brighter future for her and her sister. Her mother, Amalia, had a different type of profession. She developed and sewed for a children's apparel company. Melania frequently watched her mother at work. The sound of the sewing machine permeated the little flat. Amalia's hands quickly stitched fabric into stunning gowns. Melania enjoyed the soft textures and vibrant colors. One day, she remarked, "I want to wear something as beautiful as this." Melania wasn't the only child. She had an older sister named Ines. The two girls were quite close. They exchanged secrets, played games, and occasionally argued over toys, as any siblings do. However, they were always able to reconcile. Ines frequently told Melania stories about great cities and wonderful destinations far away. Melania listened with wide eyes. She hoped to visit these destinations one day. The town of Sevnica was modest and peaceful, surrounded by nature. Melania grew up enjoying outdoor activities. She and her companions raced across fields, collected flowers, and climbed trees. During winter, she enjoyed building snowmen and having snowball fights. Melania found life in Sevnica peaceful, but felt it was too small at times. She wanted more. She wished to see the world. Melania did well at school. She was quiet and nice. Yet she worked tirelessly. Teachers frequently praised her for her discipline and attentiveness. She enjoyed art and drawing. Sometimes she would sit by the window and draw the hills and rivers she saw outside. She also loves learning languages. She was attracted by the many methods of speaking. Maybe this will help me travel someday, she thought. Melania stood out as a child. She was tall for her age and had a beautiful appearance. Her peers noted her calm assurance. Despite her quiet demeanor, she possessed a unique quality. She moved smoothly, even when walking to class. People frequently said, Melania could be a model. However, life was not always great. Growing up in Slovenia during the 1970s was tough. The country was part of Yugoslavia, a communist country. This meant severe rules and limited freedoms. Families had financial challenges and had to work hard to make ends meet. Melania's parents made every effort to provide a comfortable existence, but they also faced challenges. Melania noticed how hard her parents worked. She witnessed her father's exhausted return from the factory. She observed that her mother stayed up late sewing garments. This fueled her determination. She vowed herself, "One day, I will make them proud." Even in the peaceful village of Sevnica, there were moments of magic. Every weekend, the family gathered for meals. They would laugh, tell stories, and enjoy Amalia's exquisite food. On vacation, they went to the countryside to see relatives. Melania enjoyed these travels. She felt a strong connection to her family and roots. When Melania was approximately 12 years old, something wonderful occurred. Her mom brought home a fashion magazine from the city. It featured images of tall, gorgeous women in stunning clothing. Melania couldn't stop staring at it. The models appeared gorgeous and assured. "Maybe I can be like them one day," she reflected. She started practicing positions in front of the mirror, mimicking the women in the magazine. She did not share her dream with anyone, including her sister. It felt too huge and impossible. Melania's dreams expanded as she grew older. She became more focused in fashion and style. Her mother noticed and started preparing special outfits for her. Amalia was confident in her daughter's ability. She reassured Melania that hard effort might lead to success. These words remained with her. Melania had a definite objective when she was a teenager. She wished to leave Sevnica and explore the globe. She aspired to be a model, leading an exciting and beautiful lifestyle. But how might a girl from a small town in Slovenia fulfill her dream? The initial step was education. Melania understood that she needed to study and prepare herself. After primary school, she attended a design and photography high school in Slovenia's capital, Ljubljana. It was her first experience of the larger world. Ljubljana was bright and energetic. Melania enjoyed roaming through the streets, browsing shops, and meeting new people. In high school, her modeling ambitions became more tangible. A photographer approached her about posing for a photo session due to her distinctive appearance. Melania initially felt anxious in front of the camera but rapidly became comfortable. The photographs turned out beautifully. For the first time, she thought, maybe I can do this. Her friends and family started to recognize her potential. They urged her to pursue modeling. However, not everyone believed in her. Some in Sevnica referred to her as a, small-town girl. She will never make it. Melania persevered despite the hurtful words. Instead, she utilized them for motivation. I'll prove them wrong, she promised herself. Melania was 16 when she signed with a modeling agency. This was an enormous stride for her. This required traveling to larger places such as Milan and Paris. She had to leave her family and calm existence in Sevnica. She was terrified, but yet excited. She realized this was her moment to pursue her ambitions. Melania packed her bags to leave Sevnica and took one last look around her modest apartment. She felt a variety of emotions, including despair, optimism, and determination. She knew her journey would be difficult, but she was prepared to face whatever happened next. Little did she know that this was only the beginning of an unbelievable journey. Melania Knaus, hailing from Sevnica, was poised to make a global impact. Chapter 2. A young girl with big dreams. Melania was not like the other children in Sevnica. She was quiet, introspective, and frequently lost in her own world. While other children played loudly in the streets, Melania spent hours painting, wondering, and dreaming. She enjoyed making lovely images of clothes, flowers, and gorgeous women. Even as a child, she had a sense of fashion. Her passion for art and fashion began early. Melania watched her mother sew gowns for her job. Melania was intrigued by the swirling and shimmering fabric under the sewing machine. She admired how a simple piece of cloth could transform into something stunning. She would use leftover fabric pieces to construct doll costumes. One day, she imagined, I will wear dresses like these. Melania did well at school. She wasn't the most outgoing, but she was intelligent and hardworking. Teachers liked her because she was courteous and focused. She listened attentively and completed her schoolwork on time. Melania's thoughts drifted while studying math and physics. She envisioned brilliant lights, big structures, and glittering runways. Melania's favorite course was art. Her teachers recognized her artistic abilities as she enjoyed painting and drawing. "You have an eye for beauty," one of them said to her. These words remained with her. They made her feel special and capable of doing great things in life. Melania sat at home for hours reading magazines. In Slovenia, fashion publications were difficult to find, but her mother occasionally brought them home from the city. The glossy pages featured models wearing fancy outfits and posing in exotic locations. Melania's pulse raced as she viewed the photos. The models appeared confident and perfect. Could I ever be like them? She inquired. The answer was unclear. Life in Sevnica was tiny and basic. Most females grew up, married, and remained close to home. Becoming a model seemed like an unachievable goal. However, Melania refused to let go of it. Her dream got greater as she looked through publications. Ines, Melania's older sister, was her closest friend. Ines was aware of Melania's ambitions and supported her. The two females frequently stayed up late, chatting about their future. One day you'll leave Sevnica, Ines explained. You'll travel the world. Melania smiled but did not speak much. She did not want to get her hopes too high. Melania was quiet, yet she possessed a strong sense of resolve. She was tenacious when it came to achieving her goals. Everyone who knew her understood this. She didn't merely dream of becoming a model. She started preparing for it. She practiced walking beautifully in front of a mirror, mimicking models from magazines. She studied their poses and attempted to mimic them. This was her secret practice, and the first step towards her huge dream. However, life in Sevnica was not all about dreams. Melania also had responsibilities. She assisted her parents with household tasks, completed housework, and excelled academically. She struggled to balance her daily existence with her dreams. "Can a small-town girl like me ever make it?" she inquired. She remained optimistic that things would improve in the future. One day, something exciting occurred. A photographer visited Sevnica to capture images for a local project. He saw Melania walking with her companions. Her tall, graceful body and serene attractiveness piqued his interest. "You should try modeling," he advised her. Melania was startled and happy. She couldn't believe that someone had recognized her talent. "Maybe my dream isn't so impossible after all," she reasoned. Melania broke the news to her family. Her parents were wary yet supportive. They urged her to concentrate on education, but they never discouraged her goal. "If this is what you desire," her mother advised, "work hard for it. Do not give up." Melania nodded. She pledged herself to try her best. Melania was already a teenager. She was becoming more confident and independent. She continued to practice her poses and focus on fashion. Her friends began to notice. "Melania looks like a model," they remarked. "She's different from the rest of us." Some girls were envious, but the majority were proud of her. Sevnica was a small town with a strong sense of pride in its residents' success. Melania's first opportunity came when she was 16. A photographer asked her to a short photo shoot. It wasn't for a major magazine or a well-known business. It was a local initiative. However, Melania took it very seriously. She felt nervous as she stood in front of the camera for the first time. Her heart was racing, and her hands felt chilly. However, as the photographer began taking shots, something changed. She relaxed. She started posing effortlessly, her long limbs gliding beautifully. The photographer was impressed. "You have a gift," he stated. Melania could not stop smiling. The photographs came out great. Melania felt excited when she saw them. She realized her long-held desire of becoming a model. The images were not famous, but they gave her the courage to keep going. As Melania went through Sevnica streets, more people noticed her. "That's the girl who did the photo shoot," they informed me. Melania maintained a humble demeanor while simultaneously feeling proud. Her dream was slowly taking shape. But it was not simple. Melania realized she needed to leave Sevnica to pursue a career as a model. She'd have to relocate to larger places such as Ljubljana, Milan, or maybe Paris. This concept delighted and terrified her. Leaving her family and life behind was not an easy decision. She realized that staying in Sevnica would mean giving up her goal. In the nights, she sat by her bedroom window, gazing out at the calm streets. The town was tranquil, but Melania desired more. She aspired to explore beyond the hills of Sevnica. She aspired to appear on runways, wear stunning outfits, and make her family happy. One day, she told herself, "I'll do it." Melania had a strong drive to pursue her dream despite the unclear road ahead. Despite uncertainty about the future, she was willing to take the initial step. This was only the beginning of her adventure. Melania, a modest and artistic girl from Sevnica, was evolving into a more mature individual. Her dreams were beckoning, and she was prepared to respond. Chapter 3. Starting her modeling career. Melania's ambition of becoming a model was gradually becoming reality. At 16, she was living in her small village of Sevnica, but her imagination was already wandering to distant cities with brilliant lights. A one chance transformed her life forever. It began with a photographer. He noticed Melania walking in the town square. She was tall and graceful, with a subtle beauty that set her apart. "Try modeling," he suggested. Melania was surprised. Could she actually do it? She felt both shy and delighted. She had anticipated this moment for years. Several weeks later, she had her first photo shoot. Melania looked worried as she entered the studio. Bright lights were everywhere, and the camera seemed enormous. She considered the possibility of making a mistake. But the photographer grinned and said, "Relax. Be yourself." Melania gradually became increasingly comfortable. She posed for the camera, tilting her head in various directions. The photographer was impressed. "You are a natural," he replied. Melania was amazed when she saw the images. She resembled the model she liked in magazines. It felt like a dream. But it was no longer a dream, but a reality. People began to recognize her talent and beauty. As word spread, additional photographers expressed an interest in working with her. Melania started participating in tiny fashion shows. These were not large runway shows like in Paris or Milan. They were local performances, but they were significant to her. She moved boldly while wearing attractive clothes and high heels. The audience paid great attention to her. They could see she was special. She had a serene elegance that made her unforgettable. Her schoolmates were proud of her. "You're going to be famous one day," they said. Melania smiled but remained humble. She didn't let her newfound success influence her. She realized she still had a lot to learn. Her parents encouraged her modeling career while also giving her guidance. "Keep focused," her father said. "Work hard and don't forget your roots." Her mother advised her to always treat others with kindness. True beauty comes from within. Melania listened closely. She hoped to make her family proud. Melania's modeling career flourished, and she had to make some important decisions. One of the most challenging aspects was juggling school with modeling. She enjoyed school but also wanted to pursue her passion. It was not easy. She occasionally missed classes to attend photo shoots or fashion shows. However, she always made time to catch up on her schoolwork. "Education is important," her parents reminded her. "It will help you in the future." Melania worked hard to prove herself. She spent hours rehearsing positions in front of a mirror. She learned to walk confidently and elegantly. She observed famous models' movements and smiles. "I want to be the best," she reflected. Melania's images soon started appearing in local magazines. People in Slovenia began to recognize her. "Isn't that the girl from Sevnica?" they inquired. Melania maintained a humble demeanor, but couldn't contain her excitement. Her fantasy was coming true. One day, a modeling agency approached her. They viewed her images and wanted to represent her. This was a massive opportunity. The agency worked with models who visited Milan, Paris, and New York. Melania could hardly believe it. She had always wanted to see these cities, and suddenly it seemed attainable. Her first journey with the organization was to Slovenia's city, Ljubljana. This was her first experience working in a large metropolis. The streets were bustling, the people were fashionable, and the possibilities appeared limitless. Melania felt both nervous and excited. It's only the beginning, she thought. In Ljubljana, she participated in numerous professional photo sessions. The photographers admired her distinctive appearance. "You're not just beautiful," one of them added. "You have something different, something special." These statements boosted Melania's confidence. The fashion industry was not always easy. Melania also had obstacles. Some individuals questioned her. "She's just a small-town girl," they explained. Melania refused not be discouraged by the insults. Instead, she worked harder. She understood that success wouldn't happen overnight. It would require time, effort, and patience. Melania also learned how to manage rejection. Not all of the jobs she applied for were successful. She wasn't always chosen for a fashion show or picture session. Despite the challenges, she emerged stronger. She told herself, "Every great model begins somewhere. I will keep trying." Melania's ambition developed as she acquired experience. She aspired to more than just modeling. She aspired to be an international model. Her goal was to walk the runways of Milan and Paris, and be featured in global magazines. "One day I'll make it," she vowed herself. Her first step in achieving that ambition was leaving Sevnica. This was a major decision. Leaving her little village meant leaving behind family, friends, and a familiar lifestyle. It was not easy. When she packed her things, she experienced a range of emotions, including exhilaration, fear, and melancholy. "I'll miss you," she informed her parents. Her mom held her tightly. "We're so proud of you," she stated. "Go chase your dreams." Melania moved to Milan, one of the world's fashion capitals. This was an entirely new experience for her. The city was large, swift, and full of opportunities. She noticed beautiful buildings, elegant people, and bustling streets all around her. It was everything she had hoped for. Melania began collaborating with well-known photographers and designers in Milan. She has walked in large fashion shows and appeared in foreign magazines. She gained increased attention. They adored her serene assurance and ageless beauty. "Who is the new model?" they inquired. Melania did not let the attention go to her head. She remained focused on her work and made continuous improvements. Her modeling career was still in its early stages. Melania had progressed from a little hamlet in Slovenia to the fashion streets of Milan, marking her first significant achievement. But her narrative didn't stop there. Melania was eager to pursue more ambitious goals. Chapter 4. Moving to the big city. Melania's journey from a small Slovenian hamlet to Milan and Paris was a dream come true. But it was not simple. She needed to work hard, overcome obstacles, and prove herself. Melania was willing to go above and beyond to achieve success, even when the journey was not always easy. Melania abandoned her home when she was only 18 years old. She boarded the train to Milan, carrying her suitcase and full of hope. She had never been away from her family for this long. As the train departed from Sevnica, she gazed out the window at the hills and meadows she had known her entire life. This is it, she realized. A new chapter begins. When Melania landed in Milan, the city seemed vast. The streets were bustling, the people were fashionable, and the buildings were tall and impressive. She saw billboards featuring models, high-end businesses, and photographers with cameras everywhere. She had only dreamed of this world. But Milan wasn't only glamorous. It was also challenging. Melania immediately understood the fashion industry was highly competitive. Hundreds of young women from around the world came together to pursue a common dream. Some were taller, more experienced, and had strong connections. Melania felt like a small fish in a large pond. Instead of getting discouraged, she told herself, "I've come this far. I will not give up." Her first several weeks in Milan were hard. She stayed in a small flat with other aspiring models. The room was small and the bed was rough. Money was limited. Melania typically ate simple foods such as bread and pasta. However, she didn't complain. She understood that every great journey begins with tiny steps. Melania started attending casting calls. Models attended auditions to showcase their portfolios to designers and photographers. Some casting calls went all day. Melania frequently waited for hours in her high heels, hoping to be recognized. Sometimes the response was no, but each no made her stronger. She acquired patience and persistence. One day, she told herself, someone will say yes. Finally, that day arrived. A well-known photographer noticed her at a casting call and was impressed. He adored her inherent beauty and quiet assurance. "You have something special," he stated. Melania smiled meekly, but inside she was ecstatic. This was her first major break. The photographer approached her about doing a photo session for a magazine. Melania looked worried as she entered the studio. The bright lights, makeup professionals, and costly clothing were overwhelming. Melania's transformation began when the camera started clicking. She posed gently, with a calm expression and delicate motions. The photographer was amazed. "You're a natural," he stated. The magazine photographs were a triumph. Melania became well known in the fashion world. As her reputation grew, she had numerous proposals for photo shoots and runway events. Every position presented a new opportunity to learn and improve. Melania worked hard and never took anything for granted. She was punctual, respectful of others, and consistently offered her best effort. Melania's triumph in Milan led her to Paris. Paris was truly wonderful, surpassing Milan's glamour. Paris felt like a fairy tale, with its iconic Eiffel Tower, trendy cafes, and attractive streets. But Melania wasn't there to see the sights. She was professional and dedicated to her career. Paris was far more competitive than Milan. The models were lovely, but the designers were demanding. Melania was subjected to grueling hours, harsh criticism, and relentless pressure to maintain her flawless appearance. However, she did not let it discourage her. She remembered her parents' advice to stay focused, work hard. One of her most exciting experiences in Paris was participating in her first major fashion show. The lights were bright, the music was loud, and the audience consisted of prominent fashion industry figures. Melania's heart raced behind the scenes. What if I mess up? She wondered. As soon as she stepped onto the runway, her anxieties faded away. She walked confidently, holding her head high and moving smoothly. The audience adored her. She was pleased that her efforts were bearing fruit. Melania learned a lot while in Milan and Paris. She learned Italian and French to better connect with customers and photographers. She learned how to pose for photos, walk the runway, and present herself professionally. These abilities helped her stand out in the competitive world of modeling. However, living as a model was not always easy. Melania misses her family and her homeland. She often felt lonely in large cities. There were times when she questioned herself. "Am I good enough?" she asked. Whenever she felt down, she remembered why she started this adventure. "I want to make my family proud," she reflected. "I want to follow my dream." One of Melania's success secrets was her calm and disciplined demeanor. Melania remained focused on her work as other models partied late into the night. She prioritized health, professionalism, and simplicity in her daily routine. This won her reputation inside the industry. Her dependability and hard work earned her the trust of designers and photographers. Melania achieved greater success with time. She began working with well-known businesses and appeared in prominent magazines. Her visage became familiar in the fashion industry. People appreciated her for her attractiveness, as well as her tenacity and professionalism. She was no longer just a small-town Slovenian girl, she was an international model. Melania never forgot her roots, no matter how successful she became. She remained humble and thankful. Whenever she had a break from work, she called her relatives in Sevnica. She shared her experiences in Milan and Paris, and they urged her to keep going. Their love and support meant the world to her. Melania's stay in Milan and Paris gave her valuable insights. She learned that success does not happen overnight. Keeping on throughout difficult times requires perseverance, patience, and courage. She also learned the value of being genuine to herself. Melania remained centered and focused on her goals despite industry pressures and competition. Melania established a solid modeling career throughout her time in Milan and Paris. She had established herself in 2 major fashion hubs worldwide. But this was only the beginning. Her journey was far from completed. Melania was eager to seize bigger opportunities and go forward. Chapter 5. Coming to America. Melania's dream in the 1990s carried her across the Atlantic. She relocated to New York City, a world-renowned and vibrant city. It was a bold and brave step. Melania abandoned her family, friends, and life in Europe. But she was prepared. After working hard in Milan and Paris, she was ready to pursue her goals in America. Melania came in New York, and it felt like she was on another planet. The streets were noisy and packed. Yellow taxis sped by. Skyscrapers touched the clouds. Neon signs illuminated the night sky. It was fast, loud, and packed with energy. Melania thought, "This is the city where dreams come true." But she was also nervous. Could she get here? Melania did not waste any time. She went straight to work. Modeling companies connected her with renowned photographers and designers. She attended casting calls, spoke with clients, and showcased her portfolio. Despite her inner uncertainty, she entered each room with confidence and serenity. "If I've made it this far, I can keep going," she told herself. Melania soon started booking jobs. Her first tasks were not for major brands or magazines, but she was not concerned. Every job was an opportunity to prove herself. She has posed for catalog shots, fashion advertising, and minor campaigns. She aimed to establish herself in the very competitive New York modeling industry. However, the path wasn't always easy. Melania faced financial constraints due to the high cost of living in New York. She shared a modest flat with other models, as she did in Milan. They supported one another, yet life was still difficult. Melania often prepared basic meals at home to save money. She often stayed awake at night, wondering about her family in Slovenia. "Am I doing the right thing?" she inquired. Despite adversity, she remained resilient. Melania's first major break in New York occurred when she collaborated with a prominent photographer. He appreciated her inherent beauty and understated grace. "You have a unique look," he said. "Let's create something amazing." During the photo shoot, Melania gave her all. She poised perfectly, her face calm yet forceful. The published images drew attention from the fashion world. Melania was on her way. She was soon presented with more opportunities. Melania appears in magazines including Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. She modeled for fashion labels and attended lavish events. Her face started to appear on billboards and commercials. People began to recognize her. "Who's this stunning new model?" they inquired. Despite her growing success, Melania remained humble. She did not allow fame to change her. She recalled her parents' advice to remain focused and work hard. Melania maintained a simple routine, unlike other models who partied late into the night. She prioritized healthy eating, professional behavior, and adequate rest. "This is my job," she reminded herself. "I have to take it seriously." Melania's first New York Fashion Week display was a memorable experience for her. The event was massive, featuring brilliant lights, loud music, and a glamorous audience. Melania felt her heart beating backstage. She took a big breath, adjusted her clothing, and went on the runway. The crowd admired her confident and stylish walking style. When she finished, she felt a surge of pride. "I did it," she thought. Melania's career progressed, and she began meeting influential people in the fashion industry. Designers admired her professionalism and grace. Photographers praised her ability to capture emotion in every image. She was recognized as a dependable and industrious model. Her determination and kindness, not just her beauty, were what made her memorable. People liked dealing with her because she was respectful and down to earth. Melania also began traveling more. Her employment led her to Los Angeles, Miami, and other places in the U.S. Each new location presented new chances and problems. Being so far away from home made her feel lonely at times. She remained focused on her ambitions. "This is my dream," she told herself. "I have to keep going." Melania had a life-changing encounter at a picture shoot in New York. In 1998, I attended a fashion-related party held by a friend. She met Donald Trump, a renowned businessman. He was affable, confident, and larger than life. Donald was instantly drawn to Melania. He appreciated her beauty and grace, as well as her quiet and restrained nature. Melania was pleasant but cautious. She worked hard to advance her modeling profession and did not want to lose focus. As she became closer to Donald, she realized they shared many similarities. He liked her work ethic and determination. "You are unlike anyone I've ever met," he informed her. As they spent more time together, their relationship grew stronger. Even when her personal life changed, Melania remained dedicated to her modeling job. She continued to collaborate with prominent photographers and appear in big magazines. As her popularity grew, she acquired respect throughout the industry. Melania began thinking about her future. Her desire was to model, but she was curious about other opportunities in life. By the early 2000s, Melania had accomplished what many others could only dream of. She moved from a little town in Slovenia to one of the world's largest cities. She had a successful modeling career and established herself in the fashion sector. However, her trip was far from ended. New chances and challenges awaited her. Melania's narrative was about commitment, hard work, and bravery. She demonstrated that even a girl from a tiny place can achieve huge aspirations. Looking ahead, she realized that her most exciting adventures were still to come. Chapter 6. Meeting Donald Trump. Melania's life took a dramatic turn in 1998. She lived in New York City and worked as a model. She had established a thriving career, appearing in magazines, billboards, and fashion shows. But on one particular night, something unexpected occurred. She met a man who quickly became the focus of her life, Donald Trump. It all began with a party. The celebration was glamorous, featuring music, laughing, and the city's most powerful individuals. Melania didn't usually attend parties, but this one was different. She agreed to attend because a friend in the fashion sector had invited her. She looked stunning in a modest black dress and exuded quiet confidence. Little did she know that this gathering would change her life. Donald Trump attended the same party. He was already well known as a wealthy businessman for his luxury hotels, real estate, and outspoken attitude. Donald was larger than life. He was pleasant, confident, and enjoyed being the focus of attention. He noticed Melania as soon as she entered the room. Donald was fascinated. Melania was unlike anyone he had met before. She was not interested in his wealth or reputation. nor was she trying to impress others. She stood out for her calm and gracious demeanor. He decided he needed to talk to her. Donald approached Melania, introducing himself. "Hi, I'm Donald," he said confidently. Melania glanced at him politely but cautiously. Everyone in New York knew who he was, but she didn't seem particularly impressed. This simply increased Donald's interest. He appreciated that she didn't try to flatter or attract his attention. The two began talking. Donald questioned Melania about her life, job, and goals. She shared her experiences growing up in Slovenia, living in Milan and Paris before settling in New York. Donald listened carefully. He liked her determination and independence. "You're amazing," he told her. "You've worked so hard to get here." Donald wanted to see Melania again, but she was hesitant to comply. She observed how others acted around powerful guys like him. She did not want to be simply another lady in his life. Melania was cautious and thoughtful. She demanded that Donald prove his seriousness before dating her. Donald did not give up. He contacted Melania frequently and sent her flowers. She declined his invitations to parties and meals. Melania wanted to be sure she could trust him. She did not want to rush into anything. Melania eventually decided to go on a date with Donald. The beginning of a relationship was marked by both positive and negative experiences. Donald led a fast-paced and prominent lifestyle, while Melania was more introverted and reserved. However, they managed to balance each other out. She respected his passion and vigor, while he appreciated her quiet disposition. Melania frequently visited Donald's opulent estates, including the well-known Mar-a-Lago property in Florida. She admired the beauty of these places, but she never allowed it influence her. Melania remained loyal to herself, quiet, contemplative, and focused on her own ambitions. Melania learned more about Donald's world as their relationship progressed. She met his family, which included his children from prior marriages. She noticed how much attention he received. Everywhere they went, media followed. Donald enjoyed the spotlight, but Melania wanted to remain in the background. She was not interested in celebrity for its own purpose. Donald proposed to Melania in 2004, after dating for several years. He chose a gorgeous engagement ring featuring a big diamond. Donald's suggestion was as impressive as his other accomplishments. Melania said yes, and the pair started arranging their wedding. Their wedding in 2005 was a magnificent affair. The event was held at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, attended by hundreds of celebrities, politicians, and business leaders. Melania wore a Christian Dior garment tailored specifically for her. The dress was stunning, featuring a long train and intricate embroidery. The gown was above anyone's expectations. Melania had a range of feelings during her walk down the aisle, including happiness, excitement, and nervousness. She was starting a new chapter in her life, with new challenges and opportunities. Melania's life changed dramatically following the wedding. She joined Donald's high-profile world. They collaborated on events, appeared in periodicals, and traveled extensively. Everyone was fascinated about her. Who was the lovely, soft-spoken woman who captivated Donald Trump's heart? Despite the attention, Melania remained focused on her own ambitions. She expanded her modeling career and ventured into jewelry design. She backed Donald's business pursuits by providing quiet strength and encouragement. Their relationship was not always ideal. They experienced hardships, like any relationship would. Donald's life was filled with major deals, media attention, and non-stop activity. Melania felt overwhelmed by the public attention. Despite challenges, they remained a cohesive unit. Melania's calm demeanor helped complement Donald's outgoing attitude. Melania's journey from a little hamlet in Slovenia to becoming Mrs. Trump was remarkable. Not only did she marry a great businessman, but she also needed to find her position in a rapidly changing world. She had worked hard to establish her own life and profession, and now she was part of something bigger. As Melania adjusted into her new role, she reflected on her accomplishments. She had pursued her aspirations and remained loyal to herself. Her life with Donald was exciting and challenging, but she knew her adventure was not over. Chapter 7. Becoming a Mother. Melania Trump's life took an amazing turn in 2006. On March 20th, She welcomed a baby boy named Baron William Trump. It was a moment of pure delight. Melania had always wanted to have a family, and finally her dream had come true. The birth of Baron was a significant occasion, but it also marked a new chapter in Melania's life. She was no longer simply a model, wife, or public personality. As a mother, she took her responsibility extremely seriously. Melania committed to raising Baron with love and care from the time she held him in her arms. Melania and Donald were overjoyed to bring their baby into the world. Baron was born healthy and robust, inheriting his mother's calm disposition and father's confidence. Donald happily proclaimed the news, describing Baron as a beautiful boy. Congratulations from friends, family, and fans. Melania considered this a deeply intimate and private occasion. She wished to spend time with her kid in privacy. Melania was an active mother from the start. She did not rely on nannies or assistants to care for Baron. She wished to support him during the process. She fed and bathed him and spent hours rocking him to sleep. She didn't mind being sleepy. "This is the most important job I'll ever have," she realized. Melania's days became focused on Baron. She enjoyed watching him grow and learn new things each day. She felt proud and happy with each milestone, including his first smile, giggle, and steps. "He's my everything," she frequently stated. Raising a child in the spotlight was not always simple. Donald Trump's active career brought the Trump family into the spotlight. Reporters and photographers wanted to know every detail of their life. Melania worked diligently to protect Baron's privacy. Despite their unconventional lifestyle, she wished for him to have a regular childhood. Melania prioritized providing a safe and caring atmosphere for Baron. She read bedtime stories, taught him new vocabulary, and engaged in activities with him. She also taught him about their family values. "Respect others, work hard, and be kind," she advised him. She hoped Baron would develop a strong sense of character through these lessons. Melania had always valued her family, and it was now the focal point of her existence. She often reflected on her own youth in Slovenia. Her parents had made significant efforts to provide a good life for her and her sister, Ines. She hoped to do the same for Baron. Melania aimed to teach him discipline, gratitude, and the importance of hard work, despite his privileged lifestyle. Melania became increasingly involved in Baron's education as he grew older. She taught him both Slovenian and French. "It's good to know many languages," she said. She wanted him to be as fascinated about the world as she had been as a child. He was encouraged to express his creativity by drawing, building with blocks, and discovering his favorite toys. Melania enjoyed spending peaceful, simple moments with Baron. One of their favorite pastimes was baking cookies together. Baron enjoyed assisting his mother in the kitchen, even if he created a mess. "It's not about being perfect," Melania stated with a smile. "It's about having fun." Donald often referred to Baron as Little Donald, since he recognized so much of himself in his son. But Melania saw Baron as a beautiful blend of both parents. He possessed both Donald's confidence and energy, as well as Melania's tranquility and thoughtfulness. She enjoyed watching him blossom into his own distinct personality. Despite her busy schedule, Melania made it a point to always be available to Baron. She supported him at school events, helped with homework, and encouraged him in his hobbies. She wanted him to know she was his biggest supporter. Melania's role as a mother became even more important during Donald Trump's presidential campaign in 2016. Despite the increased attention to the Trump family, Melania remained focused on Baron, ensuring he felt safe and loved during this exciting and challenging time. After Donald Trump won the election, Melania and Baron relocated to Washington, D.C. to live in the White House. It was a significant change for the family. Baron had to acclimate to a new life in the historic White House, steeped in tradition. Melania worked diligently to make their new home comfortable. She established a comfortable environment for Baron to play and learn. Throughout it all, Melania remained committed to her position as mother. She often stated, "Baron is my priority." Melania devoted her heart to motherhood. Whether it was through assisting with school projects, teaching life lessons, or simply spending time together. Becoming a mother changed Melania in many ways. It increased her patience, focus, and determination. She often imagined the ideal world for Baron to grow up in. "I want him to be happy, healthy, and kind," she told me. "That's all that matters." Melania saw parenthood as more than simply a role. It was a journey. It was full of obstacles, joys, and remarkable experiences. Baron's growth made her feel proud and grateful. She considered him her greatest success and treasured their time together. Chapter 8. Life Changes Forever. Melania Trump's life took a dramatic turn in 2016. Her husband, Donald Trump, made a major announcement. He ran for President of the United States. Melania began a new and public chapter in her life, which was both exhilarating and significant. Melania was initially unsure of what to expect. She had always wanted to be in the background, away from the spotlight. However, her husband's effort would draw attention to the entire family. Crowds, photographers, and reporters followed them everywhere. Life would never be the same. Throughout the campaign, Donald exuded confidence and energy. He traveled across the country, giving talks and meeting thousands. Melania backed him quietly and gracefully. She was by his side at events, smiling and waving to the crowd. Although she was not as loud as Donald, her calm demeanor left an impression. Everyone appreciated her grace and elegance. Melania also spoke at several campaign events. It was not easy for her. She was naturally reserved and did not speak English as a first language. However, she wanted to express her support for her spouse. She meticulously planned her speeches and carefully selected wording. She delivered a clear message. Donald loves America and wants the best for its people. The campaign was lengthy and aggressive. Donald's ideas were not universally accepted, and there were some disagreements. The media scrutinized Melania's actions and appearance. Some criticized her, while others complimented her. Despite the challenges, Melania maintained her concentration. She saw this as a crucial time for her family. Throughout the campaign, Melania made certain to look after their son, Baron. At the age of 10, he experienced significant life changes as a result of the campaign. Melania worked hard to shield him from the stresses of being in the spotlight. "Family always comes first," she told herself. On November 8, 2016, an election was held. This was a historic day. Millions voted, and the entire world watched. Melania and Donald anxiously awaited the results that evening. Will their efforts be worthwhile? Finally, late at night, the news arrived. Donald Trump has won! He would become the 45th President of the United States. Melania could hardly believe it. She experienced mixed emotions, including happiness, pride, and nervousness. What will the new life be like? She pondered. The triumph was commemorated with a large party in New York City. Supporters shouted and waved American flags during Donald's victory address. Melania stood behind him, dazzling in a white jumpsuit. She smiled and waved to the throng, but she knew her life was about to alter dramatically. In January 2017, Donald was sworn in as president. The inauguration ceremony featured parades, music, and distinguished guests from throughout the world. Melania's appointment as First Lady of the United States entailed significant responsibilities. Melania became the First Lady of the United States and moved into the White House, which has been the home of every president since 1800. The White House, despite its grandeur and historical significance, felt unlike her previous life. The Oval Office and State Dining Room were among the many rooms of her new home, each with its own story to tell. Melania worked hard to make the White House feel like home to her family. She personalized their living space, combining comfort and style. She also ensured Baron's comfort in their new surroundings. Melania assisted him in adjusting to his new surroundings in Washington, D.C. Being First Lady was not an easy task. Melania had to represent the U.S. at major events, meet international leaders, and deliver speeches. The media focused on her fashion, words, and facial expressions. Melania remained calm, despite facing tremendous situations. She kept true to herself and prioritized her obligations. Melania's first big activity as First Lady was creating the Be Best campaign. This campaign prioritized children's well-being, kindness, and online safety. Melania was enthusiastic about these subjects. She aimed to make a positive impression on young people. "Children are our future," she explained. "We must help them grow into kind and strong individuals." Melania promoted her program by traveling around the U.S. and internationally. She met with students, teachers, and local officials. She listened to their stories and delivered a message of kindness and respect. People praised her dedication and drive to make a difference. Regardless of her hectic schedule, Melania never forgot her responsibility as a mother. She prioritized Baron, ensuring he felt supported and loved. She supported him at school, assisted with homework, and prioritized family dinners. Melania successfully balanced her roles as First Lady and mother. Melania's time as First Lady was full with unforgettable moments. She hosted formal state dinners, celebrated holidays at the White House, and took part in traditional festivities like the Easter egg roll. She interacted with foreign leaders and their families, representing the U.S. on a worldwide scale. Melania remained dignified and elegant throughout. Of course, being in the public glare presented challenges. Melania received both negative and positive feedback. However, she remained focused on her profession and family. She was confident in her role and wanted to make the most of it. "I will do my best," she frequently stated. Melania acquired numerous lessons during her time as First Lady. She learned to manage pressure, stay true to herself, and use her position to benefit others. She reminisced on her journey from a small Slovenian town to the White House. The story was about courage, determination, and unexpected opportunity. Melania constantly reflected on how much her life had changed. Within a few years, she rose from obscurity to become one of the world's most recognizable women. It was not always easy, but she accepted the challenge. "Life is full of surprises," she stated. "You have to be ready for anything." Melania remained focused on her goals during her stint as First Lady. Her life had altered forever, but she was prepared to face the future with bravery and elegance. Chapter 9. The First Lady of the United States. Melania Trump's life underwent significant changes after becoming First Lady of the United States in 2017. She now played a large and significant part. She was more than just a wife, mother, or former model. She represented the country. Everyone wondered what she would do as First Lady. Melania opted to concentrate on assisting children. She saw children as the future and aspired to positively impact their lives. As a mother, she understood the importance of providing children with the necessary tools for success. Melania's first major project was Be Best, which aimed to promote children's well-being, teach them about online safety, and instill the value of kindness. She was passionate about these issues and aimed to spread her message globally. Melania knew that growing up wasn't always simple. Some youngsters experienced tension, bullying, and loneliness. Her Be Best campaign aimed to promote mental and physical health in children. She visited schools and hospitals to meet children and hear their experiences. She emphasized the value of physical activity, healthy food, and self-care. In one school, she spoke to a group of pupils on how to stay positive. "It's okay to feel sad or scared sometimes," she told me, "but remember, you are strong, and there are people who care about you." Her soothing and kind tone helped the students feel at ease. They admired her for visiting them. Speaking out about online safety. Another important aspect of Be Best was teaching youngsters how to stay safe online. Melania recognized that the internet may be dangerous. Children may encounter bullying, nasty words, or threats. She aimed to teach children how to use technology appropriately and protect themselves. Melania visited schools and spoke to youngsters on how to be wise online. "Think before posting," she advised them. "Once you post something online, it is there forever. Always show kindness and respect." Her counsel was basic yet effective, and many pupils liked it. She spoke with technology companies to discuss improving internet safety for children. Melania emphasized the importance of collaboration among parents, teachers, and businesses to preserve children's internet safety. The value of kindness. Melania also utilized Be Best to spread goodwill. She thought that simple acts of kindness may make a significant impact. She taught youngsters to treat people with respect, both in person and online. During one engagement, Melania invited a group of youngsters to describe how they could be kind. One youngster stated, "I can help my friend with their homework." One individual stated, "I can defend someone who is being bullied." Melania grinned and added, "That is amazing! Remember that kindness is powerful." Traveling to be best. Melania's interest was not limited to children in the U.S. She aimed to promote her message globally. As First Lady, she traveled to various countries to promote Be Best and interact with children from all cultures. In 2018, she traveled solo to Ghana, Malawi, Kenya, and Egypt. During her first solo trip as First Lady, she was eager to share her program with others. In Ghana, she went to the hospital and held babies in her arms. In Kenya, she visited a school and witnessed youngsters doing traditional dances. During her trip to Egypt, she visited historical places and emphasized the value of education. Everywhere she went, children greeted her with enthusiasm. Melania felt deeply linked to the youngsters she met throughout her travels. She listened to their experiences, hugged them, and inspired them to dream big. No matter where you live or what your background is, you have the power to do great things, they heard her say. Challenges exist. Being the First Lady wasn't always simple. Melania was always in the spotlight, and not everyone supported her ideas. Some criticized her for not completing enough projects or for their lack of impact. Others compared her to previous First Ladies and expected her to be similar. But Melania remained calm. She didn't let the criticism prevent her from completing her job. "I focus on what I can do to help others," she told me. "That's what matters." Many were inspired by her quiet courage and determination. Memorable moments as First Lady. Melania experienced several unforgettable events while serving as First Lady. She hosted magnificent state dinners at the White House for leaders from throughout the world. Every Christmas, she transformed the White House into a magnificent winter wonderland. She and her husband attended events with grace and elegance, representing the United States. Her visit to a shelter for migrant children near the U.S.-Mexico border became one of her most well-known moments. She went to meet the children and hear their tales, trying to raise awareness about their needs. Her visit created controversy due to a jacket she wore with the phrase, "I really don't care, do you?" inscribed on the back. The jacket produced a lot of confusion, and people debated what it symbolized. Melania later clarified that the incident was not intended to convey a message about the children, but it was nevertheless one of the most talked-about incidents of her tenure as First Lady. Reflections on her role. For Melania, being First Lady was both a challenge and an honor. She had the opportunity to make a difference, but it also came with significant pressure. She frequently reminisced on her path from a little hamlet in Slovenia to the White House. "I never imagined this life," she said, "but I am grateful for the chance to serve." Melania thought Be Best would encourage children to believe in themselves and treat others with kindness. She aimed for her work to be remembered beyond her tenure as First Lady. Melania, who left the White House in January 2021, reflected on her time there with pride. She overcame hardships, learned valuable lessons, and created unforgettable memories. Most importantly, she remained true to herself and her objective to serve children. Chapter 10. Challenges in the Spotlight. Being the First Lady of the United States was an important and fascinating position. However, Melania Trump had many hurdles. She was the center of attention from the start. They discussed her fashion, preferences, and calm nature. Melania maintained a calm and concentrated approach to her profession, despite challenges. The world was watching. Melania became one of the world's most photographed ladies while serving as First Lady. Every time she appeared in public, cameras flashed, and journalists wrote articles. People evaluated her appearance, including her clothing, speech, and posture. Sometimes it seemed like no detail was too small. Melania was noted for her taste of fashion. She donned gorgeous outfits, vibrant jackets, and fashionable shoes. Designers adored her, and several of her outfits became famous. Her dress choices have aroused discussion. Some praised her clothes while others critiqued it. Melania often remained silent about the attention. She prioritized her activities over her clothing choices. Jacket controversy. Melania's tenure as First Lady was highlighted by a highly publicized incident in 2018. She went to a shelter for migrant children along the U.S.-Mexico border. Melania's emotional visit demonstrated her concern and support for the youngsters. It wasn't the visit that created headlines, but the jacket she was wearing. The jacket included the phrase, "I really don't care, do you?" inscribed on the back. Many folks felt confused and upset. What exactly did the message mean? Was it about the children? The media reacted with inquiries and condemnation. Melania later clarified that the jacket was not intended to convey a message about children. However, the dispute did not go away. Melania received scathing criticism during this tough time. Nonetheless, she remained calm. "I know what I'm doing," she explained. "I don't let others control how I feel." Criticism and pressure. Melania experienced a lot of criticism throughout her time as First Lady. Some folks claimed she wasn't doing enough. Others compared her to prior First Ladies, such as Michelle Obama and Jacqueline Kennedy. They expected her to say more, do more, and behave differently. But Melania was her own person. She didn't attempt to imitate anyone else. She prioritized her family, the Be Best campaign, and her duty as a mother. She believed in quality over quantity. "It doesn't matter how much you do," she added. "It's about doing the right thing." Despite her best attempts, criticism can be hurtful. Melania was a private person who found being in the spotlight uncomfortable. Despite the negative outlook, she persevered. She reminded herself of her ideals and remained focused on her goals. Handling the media. The media had an important influence in Melania's life as First Lady. Every speech, trip, and function she attended was covered in newspapers and TV. Sometimes the media complimented her, and other times they were critical. Melania handled the limelight in her own way. She rarely spoke up or replied to criticism. Instead, she let her actions to speak for her. She believed that remaining cool and confident was the most effective approach to deal with the strain. "I choose to focus on what's positive," she told me. A quiet strength. Melania Trump had a different personality from Donald Trump, who was known for his outspokenness. She remained calm, thoughtful, and restrained. This caused some people to misunderstand her. They assumed she was not involved or did not care. However, those who knew her well witnessed a different side. They witnessed her calm strength and drive. Melania's calm demeanor helped her cope with the hectic pace of life in the White House. She supported her spouse without attempting to steal the spotlight. She prioritized her family and work while keeping true to herself. The pressure of perfection. Being First Lady entailed tremendous expectations. Melania faced expectations of perfection in her talks, acts, and appearances. The pressure was intense at times. Melania realized that she couldn't please everyone. "No matter what I do," she told me, "there will always be people who don't agree." Instead of striving for perfection, Melania focused on doing her best. She realized that not everyone would agree with her decisions, which was all right. She believed in keeping strong and not allowing others to influence her emotions. A role model for resilience. Melania's ability to remain calm under duress influenced a lot of people. They liked her grace and ability to overcome adversity. Despite setbacks, she remained committed to her Be Best project, visiting schools and hospitals and representing the U.S. globally. Her path demonstrated that despite the challenges of being in the spotlight, it is possible to remain strong and authentic. Melania demonstrated that kindness, patience, and resilience were effective, even in the face of criticism. Reflecting on the challenges. Throughout her tenure as First Lady, Melania frequently commented on the hardships she encountered. She reflected on her journey from a little town in Slovenia to the White House. It had been a long and unexpected journey, with of twists and turns. Her experiences in the spotlight taught her valuable lessons. She learned to focus on what matters, filter out negativity, and be loyal to herself. She learned to persevere despite adversity. A graceful presence. Melania stayed beautiful and lovely throughout. She did not let the problems define her. Instead, she exploited them to gain strength and determination. She concentrated on her work, her family, and her desire to help others. Melania demonstrated that with patience and resilience, she could overcome challenges while serving as First Lady. She remained calm, focused, and committed to her ideals. And in doing so, she left her own unique mark on history. Chapter 11. A Unique First Lady. Melania Trump was not like any other First Lady. She was born in a little town in Slovenia, far from the dazzling lights of Washington, D.C. She is the first lady born in another country since Louisa Adams in the early 1800s. Her trip to the White House was spectacular. Many respected her for her unusual narrative, calm, courage, and graceful grace. From Slovenia to the White House, Melania's voyage began in Sevnica, a little hamlet surrounded by hills and forests. Her childhood was humble, but she had enormous goals. She worked hard to become a model, and then relocated to Milan, Paris, and New York City. She met Donald Trump, who went on to become President of the United States. Melania never believed she'd be the First Lady. She was now residing in the White House, a place rich in history and tradition. She fulfilled a role formerly occupied by women such as Eleanor Roosevelt, Jacqueline Kennedy, and Michelle Obama. Melania's personal narrative and perspective added a distinct dimension to the part. She is inspiring others via her journey. Melania's life narrative has influenced many people. She demonstrated that success is attainable regardless of one's background. She began in a modest place, far from power and fame, and rose to become one of the world's most prominent figures. People appreciated her for her perseverance and commitment. Before marrying Donald Trump, she established a successful modeling career on her own. Her narrative emphasized the importance of hard work, patience, and risk-taking to achieve success. Melania represented hope and promise for immigrants. She embodied the belief that America was a place where dreams might come true. Her visit to the White House emphasized the importance of each individual's narrative. Bringing her style to the role, Melania brought her own unique style to her post as First Lady. She was neither loud nor flamboyant. Instead, she remained calm, thoughtful, and lovely. Her deeds spoke louder than words. She focused on her obligations and allowed her work to define her. Melania was noted for her stylish sense. She dressed boldly, stylishly, and thoughtfully. Whether attending a state dinner, meeting world leaders, or visiting hospitalized youngsters, she always dressed to impress. Some liked her style, while others criticized it. Melania's dress selections were always unique to her. Her modest and restrained attitude also distinguished her. Melania, unlike previous First Ladies, did not engage in frequent interviews or public speaking. She loved working behind the scenes rather than in the spotlight. Some people misinterpreted her actions as a lack of involvement or interest. Melania, according to people close to her, was a caring and hard-working individual who worked independently. Strength in the face of adversity. Being the First Lady presented numerous obstacles. Melania was constantly scrutinized by the media, and her actions were keenly monitored. She received compliments on everything she accomplished, including her speech and appearance. Some criticism was harsh and unfair, but Melania remained steadfast. She did not let the negative bother her. Instead, she prioritized her objectives and family. She demonstrated that strength doesn't have to be loud, but can also be quiet and consistent. Her ability to remain cool and graceful under pressure has inspired many. One of Melania's talents was her ability to handle difficult situations with dignity. Even when faced with criticism or controversy, she remained collected. She didn't react with rage or defensiveness. Instead, she concentrated on doing her job and moving on. Connecting with children. Melania's Be Best project was an important aspect of her role as First Lady. Her program aimed to promote children's well-being, online safety, and kindness. She saw children as the future and prioritized providing them with the necessary tools for success. During her visits to schools, hospitals, and community organizations, she met youngsters from diverse backgrounds. She listened to their tales and inspired them to believe in themselves. Her calm and compassionate demeanor helped children feel comfortable around her. Many children regarded her as a role model. Melania's love for children shone through in everything she did. She often stated, "Children are our future. We must teach them to be strong, kind, and responsible." Her work with Be Best demonstrated her dedication to positively impacting their lives. Representing the U.S., Melania, as First Lady, also represented the United States internationally. She traveled to different nations and interacted with leaders and families. Her visits played a crucial impact in strengthening international relations. She had a fantastic journey to Africa, visiting schools, clinics, and animal conservation institutions. She wore traditional attire to respect local culture and interacted with students and instructors. Melania was commended for successfully connecting with people from many backgrounds throughout the trip. Her trips demonstrated her role as a cultural bridge, in addition to being a First Lady. She advocated for understanding and kindness as key qualities for a better world through her platform. Reflections on her role. Melania frequently reflected on her achievements as First Lady. Her journey from Slovenia to the White House was unique, with both problems and possibilities. She understood that her mission was to inspire others and represent her country, not just herself. Melania's unusual background distinguished her from any other First Lady in history. Her life narrative demonstrated that success can be achieved by hard effort, persistence, and keeping true to oneself. She chose to forge her own path rather than conform to others' expectations. For Melania, becoming First Lady was both an honor and a responsibility. She took up the task with grace and strength, always aiming to make a positive impression. Her legacy as a distinctive and inspiring First Lady will be remembered for generations to come. Chapter 12. Life after the White House. Donald Trump's presidency ended on January 2021. Melania Trump and her family departed Washington, D.C. to resume their private lives after 4 years in the White House. It was a new chapter, full of changes and fresh starts. Melania's departure from the White House was bittersweet. She was pleased of her accomplishments as First Lady, particularly her Be Best program for children. However, she was also ready to go on. Life at the White House had been both exciting and hard. She decided to prioritize her family and personal projects. A quiet transition. Melania's departure from the White House marked a significant transition. After living in one of the world's most famous buildings, she returned to a more peaceful existence. She and Donald settled in Mar-a-Lago, a luxury mansion in Florida. The tranquil ambiance, mild weather, and palm trees provided a pleasant respite from the hectic life in Washington, D.C. Melania quickly adjusted to the sluggish pace. She adored spending time with Barron. Now an adolescent, Melania wanted to support her son as he matured. She assisted him with his studies and supported him as he prepared for the next stage of his life. A focus on the family. Melania had always put her family first. After leaving the White House, she focused more on her position as a mother. Melania continued to support Barron's education as he attended school in Florida. She pushed him to work hard, dream big, and remain grounded. Donald also appreciated Melania's assistance during this period. Despite the trials of life after the president, Melania remained a constant support for him. She offered him guidance and support, just as she had throughout their tenure in the White House. The Trump family frequently spent time together at Mar-a-Lago, throwing dinners and spending quiet evenings. Melania treasured these moments of togetherness. They reminded her of what was really important: love, family, and the basic pleasures of life. Personal projects. Melania continued to work even after her tenure as First Lady ended. She began to concentrate on personal initiatives that were important to her heart. This included continuing the work she began with Be Best. Melania stayed dedicated to assisting children. She worked on projects promoting education, health, and kindness. Despite leaving the White House, she continued to make a difference. "Helping children will always be important to me," she told me. Melania pursued creative pursuits in addition to her charitable efforts. She was passionate in fashion and design and enjoyed expressing herself through art. She kept her projects covert and preferred to work quietly behind the scenes. Staying out of the spotlight. Melania preferred a private life after leaving the White House. In contrast to other past First Ladies, she rarely gave interviews or attended public events. Instead, she prioritized her family and personal interests. Some people asked why Melania was so quiet. Those who knew her recognized that this was just her personality. She has always been cautious and thoughtful, letting her deeds speak louder than her words. "I value my privacy," she often stated. "It's important for me and my family." Melania's decision to avoid the spotlight allowed her to prioritize her relationship with Barron and his upbringing. She emphasized the importance of being a present and supporting mother. Reflecting about her journey. As Melania adjusted to her new life, she frequently reflected on her extraordinary adventure. She had traveled a long distance from her small town in Slovenia. Throughout her career as a model in Milan and Paris and as First Lady, she faced unexpected opportunities and obstacles. Melania was proud of what she'd accomplished. She recognized that her time in the White House was unique, and she had made her own stamp as First Lady. She hoped her work with Be Best impacted the lives of youngsters. She hoped her experience would inspire people to believe in themselves and pursue their aspirations. "Life is full of surprises," she frequently remarked. "You never know where your journey will lead you. But if you are loyal to yourself and work hard, anything is possible." A new chapter. Life outside the White House was quiet, but it marked the start of a new era. Melania balanced her family responsibilities and personal interests. She valued simple pleasures such as spending time with family, working on projects, and admiring Florida's natural beauty. Despite her departure from public life, Melania's narrative continues to inspire many. Her path from Slovenia to the White House demonstrated the power of determination, grace, and endurance. Despite facing hardships and obstacles, she remained true to herself throughout. Melania Trump's life after leaving the White House is a narrative of courage, grace, and quiet accomplishment, despite the lack of public attention. She upholds her principles, prioritizing family, passions, and assisting others.